Last week, Kyle and I got married surrounded by our closest friends and family. It was everything we had hoped for, filled with laughter, hugs, and the joy of being together. Our families came together to celebrate our union, which made the day even more special. Everything went perfectly except for one problem. My stepmother tried to cause trouble at the wedding. My parents split up when I was young, but they've been great at co-parenting. These days, my mom is dating a guy named Holt, and my dad is happily married to Gigi. I was actually excited when my dad remarried because it meant our family was growing. Gigi has a daughter named Naomi who's just a year older than me. When Dad introduced us, I was hopeful that Naomi and I could become friends. It turns out Naomi wasn't as sweet as she seemed. When Dad wasn't around, she used to pick on me a lot. I didn't just take it though, I gave it right back. Our arguments sometimes got pretty heated and even turned physical. Whenever Naomi cried, Gigi would come rushing in and always ended up taking her side, even though Naomi was usually the one starting things. No matter how much I tried to explain, Gigi never believed me. She'd wait until Dad came home to complain about me. Luckily, Dad never took sides and just hated that we fought. As the years went on, things only got worse between Naomi and me. Mom started to notice how Naomi and Gigi treated me when Dad wasn't around, so she talked to him about it. After that, Dad started taking me out on weekends, just the two of us. It was our special time together where I could talk to him about anything. I really treasure those moments. When Gigi found out about our outings, she wasn't happy. She insisted that Dad include Naomi, but Dad stood his ground and refused. Before Kyle and I got married, we dated for 6 wonderful years, and during that time, I introduced him to my parents. During a family dinner, everything was going well until Gigi made an unexpected comment. She stopped eating, looked at both of us, and boldly said that Kyle was too good looking for me. The room fell silent, and my mom angrily asked her about the remark. Gigi tried to brush it off as a compliment to Kyle, but he was just as upset. He stood up for me, saying she shouldn't talk about us like that. His support made me smile, and I felt grateful. Even though dinner continued after that, Gigi's failed attempt at humor hung in the air like an unwelcome guest. Her words kept bothering me. Kyle, tall and fit from regular workouts, fit society's idea of attractiveness, while I was shorter and carried some weight. Surprisingly, Kyle had never made me feel insecure about my body. Our relationship was strong, and he never mentioned my weight. Despite Kyle's unwavering support, Gigi's comments about my appearance still managed to shake my confidence, especially when I noticed other girls admiring him. Her remarks during dinners with my dad continued to chip away at my self-esteem, whether it was about my clothing choices or suggesting I hit the gym more often. Though disguised as concern, these comments only fueled my self-doubt. Kyle always defended me when he overheard Gigi's remarks, but Naomi's behavior added another layer of discomfort. She often acted overly familiar with Kyle, making him uneasy despite his attempts to express his discomfort. During a Thanksgiving celebration, things came to a head during a truth or dare game. Naomi was dared to sit on the person she liked the most. Instead of choosing her mother, she pointed at Kyle. When Kyle promptly refused, I couldn't help but laugh, realizing that he would never reciprocate her interest, no matter how desperate she was. As the Thanksgiving gathering continued, Naomi appeared visibly embarrassed by the awkward incident. Despite the tension, Kyle and I tried to shrug it off and enjoy the celebration with our loved ones. As our wedding day approached, I was filled with excitement and joy. Kyle and I were deeply in love and eager for the journey ahead. Despite my reservations, I reluctantly invited Gigi and Naomi at my dad's insistence, with the understanding that any trouble would not be tolerated. On the day of our wedding, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as I got ready surrounded by my bridesmaids. Just when everything seemed perfect, Gigi barged into my dressing room, insisting on a private conversation. Despite my mother's protests, I agreed to hear her out. Growing weary of her persistence, I asked for privacy, promising to handle the situation swiftly. With a raised eyebrow, my mother left us alone. I gave Gigi 2 minutes to explain herself before kicking her out. With an air of fox concern, Gigi showed me multiple pictures, claiming they would change my perception of Kyle. Shocked, I glanced at the photos only to see Kyle innocently chatting with a distant cousin at a restaurant. Gigi tried to convince me that Kyle was involved with this mysterious woman. Gigi claimed she took those pictures while she was out for dinner last week, thinking she was doing me a favor by uncovering Kyle's supposed infidelity. With false concern, she urged me to reconsider the wedding, making it seem like I was about to make a huge mistake. Determined not to let her ruin my wedding day, I decided to confront the situation head-on. I called Kyle and my dad to my room, making Gigi think I was about to confront Kyle about the alleged affair. Little did she know, a different kind of confrontation was coming. Kyle hesitated to enter the room, not wanting to see me in my wedding dress, but I urged him in. As he walked in, Gigi wore a smug smirk, expecting drama. I calmly gestured toward the picture she had spread out and asked Kyle to explain. He looked puzzled as he examined the photos, while Gigi reveled in the drama she had created. Maintaining his composure, Kyle explained that the woman in the pictures was his cousin, whom he had met for dinner last week. He clarified the context of each image, pointing out the family resemblance and the innocent nature of their conversation. Gigi's confident demeanor began to falter as Kyle's explanation dismantled her scheme, and my dad, who had joined us by then, listened intently. As Gigi's plan crumbled before us, I couldn't resist revealing that the woman in the photos was indeed Kyle's cousin, whom I had met at one of his family events. Watching Gigi's face fall in realization of her failure was a moment of triumph for me. My dad, who had been listening silently, caught onto Gigi's deceit and asked if she was the one who brought the pictures. Confirming his suspicion, I explained how she disrupted my wedding preparations with false accusations about Kyle. My dad, visibly upset, turned to Gigi, demanding an explanation for her actions. Feeling defeated and embarrassed, Gigi finally revealed her true intentions. She claimed that I didn't deserve someone like Kyle and asserted that her daughter, Naomi, had fallen in love with him. Gigi believed Naomi, who she deemed more beautiful than me, deserved to marry Kyle instead. She admitted to planting negative thoughts about our relationship over the years, hoping to break us up. Seeing Kyle with another woman gave her the opportunity she had been waiting for. We stared at her in disbelief as she confessed, and my mom, already upset with her behavior, expressed her outrage to my dad. He immediately agreed and ordered Gigi to leave. Despite her protests, my mother escorted her out of the room. Naomi stormed in, sensing something was wrong, and my dad explained Gigi's deceitful actions. Hearing this, Naomi directed her anger towards me, launching into a barrage of accusations, blaming me for tearing her family apart. Despite my attempts to explain Gigi's deceit, Naomi's anger only grew. She ridiculed our relationship, insisting it was built on lies, and mocked me for defending our love, claiming I was deluding myself. Naomi persisted in her belief that she deserved to be with Kyle, suggesting that he was only with me because he thought I was wealthier than her due to my job. Kyle, unable to contain his anger any longer, intervened sternly. He firmly rebuffed Naomi's advances, expressing his disappointment and making it clear that he had no romantic interest in her. He reminded her that we were getting married and that she, along with Gigi, had no right to ruin our day. Despite my father's attempts to mediate and bring reason to the situation, Naomi continued her relentless accusations. However, my father stood firmly by my side throughout the ordeal. Realizing that Naomi was not going to give up, he ultimately asked her and Gigi to leave the wedding. Naomi appeared surprised by this turn of events, and a sense of satisfaction washed over me as they left. Turning to Kyle, I couldn't help but feel a mix of frustration and amusement. We shared a knowing glance, and he burst into laughter, realizing how innocuous Gigi's twisted images had been. Despite their disruptive attempts, our relationship had only grown stronger. The wedding continued without further disruption, and we exchanged our vows surrounded by loved ones. It turned out to be a day filled with joy and laughter, just as we had dreamed. As the festivities continued, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that Gigi's plan had backfired and only served to strengthen the bond between Kyle and me. Kyle and I had an amazing honeymoon, but since we got back, my dad has been telling me that things aren't good between him and Gigi. She's upset with us for kicking her out of the wedding and blames me for embarrassing her in front of Kyle. Even Naomi has been messaging me, calling me names and warning me that I won't be happy with Kyle. It's really starting to bother me, so I want to know if I was right to expose my stepmother's lies and kick her out of the wedding. Update 1. It's been a few days since my last update. Turns out, my cousin Fiona, who was also one of my bridesmaids, overheard the whole conversation with Gigi and Naomi that day. She couldn't keep it to herself and felt disturbed by what she heard. So she shared it with some close family members. As the news spread, more relatives caught wind of it, and soon everyone was talking about their disruptive behavior at my wedding. The family's collective disapproval grew, and they were just as shocked as we were when they found out about Gigi and Naomi's deceitful scheme. Everyone agreed that what they did was undeniably wrong. Gossip spread quickly, and the family collectively shunned Gigi and Naomi. I've been getting concerned phone calls and messages from relatives who didn't know about what happened at the wedding. Today, I invited my dad over for dinner since I hadn't seen him since the wedding. He looked visibly different, not like his usual self. During our meal, he opened up about how Gigi and Naomi were making his life difficult. They were demanding an apology from me for kicking them out. Kyle and I were shocked to hear how entitled they felt, considering they were the ones who tried to ruin my wedding. It was surreal trying to comprehend their audacity. My dad, sensing my frustration, expressed his disappointment in their behavior. He assured me that I owed no apology for protecting my wedding against their disruptive actions. Seeing Dad dealing with all the toxicity from Gigi and Naomi worried me, so I talked to him about it. We both agreed that the constant conflicts with Gigi were taking a toll on his mental well-being. Dad also told me that Naomi was threatening us with legal action, claiming emotional distress from the wedding incident. It sounded absurd, and I couldn't help but laugh. But deep down, I knew their demands were straining our family dynamics. I plan on confronting Naomi and Gigi about this issue and hopefully resolving it once and for all. Update 2. Today, I met up with Naomi and Gigi, as I mentioned earlier. I invited them both out for lunch at a cafe instead of meeting at my place. Kyle wanted to come with me, but I insisted on handling this on my own. As we sat down, there was tension in the air. I calmly expressed my concerns about their actions during the wedding and emphasized the hurt they caused. However, Gigi remained defensive, insisting she stood by everything she had done. She claimed she was acting in Naomi's best interest, which really angered me. I pointed out that Kyle was my husband now, and I couldn't stand by their persistent disregard for our relationship. I suggested that she could have at least apologized for interrupting my wedding day. The conversation quickly escalated into a heated exchange. Gigi stubbornly refused to admit any wrongdoing, while Naomi accused me of being insecure and jealous of her. I couldn't help but laugh at her accusation. I clarified that I had never seen her as competition. I reminded her of my academic achievements, securing a scholarship, graduating from my dream college, and landing a job that provided financial comfort. I expressed my frustration, emphasizing that unlike her, I had a partner who genuinely loved me, and I didn't need to go behind someone's back to try and steal them. Naomi's face twisted with anger as she hurled hurtful words at me. She claimed that Kyle didn't truly love me and was only with me out of pity or convenience. She insisted that he deserved someone better. Her words were venomous, but I tried to stay composed, refusing to let her undermine my relationship or happiness. Gigi, standing beside Naomi, couldn't resist adding her own bitter remarks. With a condescending tone, she questioned my ability to handle a marriage, implying that I was naive and inexperienced. She even went so far as to mock my relationship with Kyle, saying it was laughable. Despite their spiteful remarks, I took a moment to collect myself before responding. I told them that their opinions about my marriage were irrelevant. Kyle and I shared a deep connection that went beyond their shallow judgments. If they couldn't respect that, then it was best for us to part ways. As the argument intensified, it became clear that reasoning with them was futile. They refused to acknowledge their mistakes or the depth of their actions, which only fueled the intensity of our argument. It became evident that maintaining a relationship with individuals so determined to cause harm was untenable. The meeting ended on a sour note, with unresolved issues and lingering tension. Returning home, the weight of the confrontation pressed heavily on my shoulders, and I broke down in tears. The emotional toll of the encounter left me drained both physically and mentally. After talking with my mother, I made the difficult decision to permanently cut ties with Gigi and Naomi. She was shocked to hear how much they had hurt me and wanted to confront them, but I stopped her, emphasizing that they weren't worth our time or emotional energy. The toxicity they brought into our lives was not worth the toll it took on our mental well-being and the stability of my marriage. It's a painful but necessary step toward a healthier, happier life. Update 3. Thank you to everyone who has commented since my last update. It's been 2 months and a lot has changed in our lives. Firstly, my dad and Gigi are now separated. As many predicted, Gigi's refusal to acknowledge her mistakes, combined with constant conflicts, took a toll on my dad. Consequently, he moved out and is consulting with lawyers to initiate divorce proceedings. After my dad blocked her on all fronts, Gigi tried to reach out to me, but I also blocked her. She then called Kyle, but he knowingly didn't pick up her calls, so she sent him a long message blaming me for their separation and accusing me of turning my dad against her. Kyle and I read the message together, shaking our heads at her attempt to shift blame. We didn't bother to reply, and Kyle blocked her as well. Since his separation, my dad seems lighter and happier. He's gradually finding peace away from the constant turmoil with Gigi and Naomi. Kyle and I have been there to support him through this challenging time, encouraging him to focus on his well-being and pursue activities that bring him joy. Despite the difficulties, it's heartening to see my dad rediscovering himself and embracing freedom from toxic dynamics. A month ago, I went on a vacation with my mom to spend some time with her. Since the incident, she has been really worried about me and furious at how they treated me. This beach vacation was much needed as we strolled along serene beaches, reminiscing about joyful memories and discussing plans for the future. In the quiet moments of our vacation, surrounded by my mother's comforting presence, I felt so much peace. It was a therapeutic reset, allowing us to strengthen our bond and cherish moments of peace away from the chaos that Gigi and Naomi brought into our lives. As I write this, I feel overwhelmed with gratitude for the love Kyle and I share. His unwavering support and understanding have been the pillars that held me up through the storms. If I didn't have a supportive and loyal partner like him, I don't know what I would do. Reflecting on our journey, I am immensely thankful for the joy he brings, the laughter we share, and the strength he provides in the face of challenges. Looking ahead, I look forward to embracing the prospect of spending the rest of my life with Kyle.